Welcome to Finish the Race, a conservative Christian podcast where we'll dive deep into the current events and social issues affecting Americans.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
In times like these, truth, principles, and solutions matter. Through God's Word, we can restore our true American values, faith, family, and country.
However, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace.
Now, here's your host, Eric-Thompson.
Hi, welcome to another Finish Race podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. It's Thursday night out here in California, April 28th, 2022. If you want to check out the political articles that I write or get more information on the show, just head over to finishtherace.com. If you want to get a hold of me, ask any questions, you can always email me at eric@finishtherace.com, ERIC. On tonight's podcast, we have way too much to cover, so I'm not going to make an attempt. But let me summarize it real quick, and then we'll jump in. The United States of America, and this is nothing new, but this is just it's shouting out at us today. Besides Joe Biden not being able to say kleptocracy, which I'll get to, somebody on a teleprompter gave him a word to say that he couldn't say that actually described him and his family. It is very interesting. But the economy is one more quarter like what we're just coming out of. We're going to officially be in a recession, and I'll go over the numbers with you. We're going to go over quickly the DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, his group, his management below him is doing things illegally. And there's even 42 terrorists that are on the terrorist list that when asked, he doesn't know where they are, if they've been released or not. They actually got stopped at the border. But he doesn't know. He has to get back with them, with Jim Jordan. We'll get to that. Then we're going to get to Joe's total meltdown. It's embarrassing. It's sad. And then Dr. Fauci did a 180. A couple of days ago, he said, oh, no, the United States is no longer in a pandemic. The COVID pandemic's no longer, we're out of it. America's left it. Now, all of a sudden, no. Psaki in the White House corrected him yesterday, and today, Fauci's walking the comments back. We'll briefly cover that. And then we're going to finish up with the Democrats are losing a lot of the black vote. And we have some audio here from Meet the Press went to a rural county, which is primarily all black Americans, to ask them how do they feel the Democratic Party is representing them. And it's very enlightening. So let's go ahead and jump in here. The gross domestic product, the Bureau of Economic Analysis released the numbers today for the first quarter. And the experts were expecting that, well, even though 1.1% is not good at all, that's a lot better than what actually came out. The actual gross domestic product, the output of our economy decreased, retracted 1.4%. Not only didn't we grow as an economy under Joe Biden's massive spending and cutting the energy output and giving trillions of dollars in assistance and encouraging people not to work during COVID. But the economy is going backwards in output. If it happens again next quarter, we will be in a recession. If you go back through history and look at what's happened with socialism, Marxism, totalitarianism, eventually it collapses. Well, here we are. 16 months in, the economy shrank 1.4% for the first quarter. What experts call this is actually stagflation, not inflation. The definition of stagflation is when the growth it's estimated to be 2%, 2.5%, 3%. When it goes below the trend, when it's dropping, but the inflation is above the trend, then you actually have less wealth. People, the dollar is dying and everything's going down and the output's going down. So we're actually in stagflation. When you look at the economy overall, but if you look at the inflation cost of the individual, we're in the double digits for a lot of things. So it's a mess. And the White House doesn't have solutions. Here's one solution that we heard today. Bernie Sanders and the left, or actually over the last couple days, we need to wave the magic wand, the president, and wipe out all student debt. So over $1.5, $1.7 trillion, then the receivables, the money that's owed by the people that have the student loans, all of a sudden is going to go away, but the $1.7 trillion is still going to be due. What happens to inflation? What happens to the national debt? But that's the plan. Well, if we do that, then people are going to put all the money back in the economy because they're not going to have to pay their student loans. No, most people's student loans are deferred. They're not paying in right now. All that's going to happen is they're not going to have to pay it back. But yet we're printing money, and if we borrow the money, we pay interest, but then we just let the people who were supposed to pay the loans no longer have to pay the loans. But somehow that's the plan. That's one of the ways that the Biden administration is going to turn this around. So top story number one was the gross domestic product actually went backwards. And they're saying it's because, well, we have the Omicron was out for a little bit, and that slowed some openings and put the mask back on people. Then we have supply chain problems, surging fuel prices, and everything else. But guess the major media like CNN, New York Post, and all them, New York Times, the liberal outlets are saying it's not Joe's fault. You guys, CNN, you may think that it's Joe's fault that you're paying $5 per gallon, or you can't get anything on the shelves, or rents are up, or real estate's up, and but it's actually Joe has no say over it. Joe can't control gasoline at $5.50 a gallon. Yes, he stopped the production of the, he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, and they prevented offshore drilling and prevented onward drilling. But yeah, even though that caused the supply and demand to get totally flipped upside down to where there wasn't enough fuel, and yes, prices skyrocketed, but that's not Joe's fault. Don't blame poor Joe. He's a nice guy. He's grandpa. Well, here's Joe when asked about, GDP numbers came out. What's your thoughts? How do you think the economy is going, Mr. President?
I think what you're seeing is enormous growth in the country that was affected by everything from COVID and the COVID blockages that occurred along the way.
Where can you come? What fantasy did that come from? How can you have enormous growth when you're still 2 million less jobs are filled than before COVID, and the economy shrank 1.4%, while the government added $4 or $5 trillion on the national debt, and somehow he's seeing enormous growth in the country? I don't think so, Joe. That's not how it plays out. Okay, that's our first story there. GDP is not good. That's just part of the process here. All right, let's get over to now Joe, also in the press conference, which he was explaining to the reporters how the Biden administration in May is going to go ahead and is going to start seizing Russian assets from oligarchs to try to punish them for their ill-gotten gains. It's going to be a major escalation of this proxy war. Even though we're not at war with Russia, we're giving Ukraine another $30 billion. And so on top of that, the feds are going to start seizing assets like boats and luxury homes and other assets inside the United States. Then Joe has to explain the reason why is these people are part of a kleptocracy. Here's the problem. Joe doesn't know really what's going on. He likes to eat a lot of ice cream. He spends a lot of time in Delaware. His dog was biting all kinds of people, but he didn't want to deal with it. The White House staff, some of the leaks are saying that dealing with him at nighttime when the cameras aren't around is really scary. But here's Joe. Here's Joe at the press conference trying to explain how the White House is now going to take this new significant increased attack on the wealthy of Russia, hoping to cripple the wealthy so maybe Putin would stop his assault on Ukraine.
We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Kleptocracy and the guys who are the kleptocracies. But these are bad guys. This legislative package strengthens our law enforcement capabilities.
And I don't even know what he said after that. Something about authorities or something. Joe Biden, this is not new news. This is not a news alert. We know that he's slipping. But do you know what's interesting about whoever wrote the speech? Okay, in a kleptocracy, corrupt politicians enrich themselves secretly outside the rule of law through kickbacks, bribes, and special favors. Or they simply direct state funds to themselves or their associates. Also, they often export much of their profits to foreign nations in anticipation of losing power. Very interesting that Joe couldn't say a word that describes his family perfectly. There's an article out from Breitbart, 7 times that Biden deflected, denied involvement in this corrupt family business. And it goes all the way back to September 19th, 2019. I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. Here's what I know. Trump deserves to be investigated. Okay. October 22nd, 2020. I haven't taken a penny. There's videos on all these. If you go to Breitbart.com, just look up 7 times Joe Biden deflected, denied. Okay, so we'll go to October 19th in a smear campaign because he has nothing he wants to talk about. What is he running on? Okay, so what is he running on? So basically, Joe said, it's a smear campaign because he has nothing he wants to talk about. What is he running on? What is he running on? Joe deflected during an interview on CBS's 60 Minutes. They asked him a question about his involvement, and he had to just try to deflect and talk about Trump. October 25th, 2020, quote, Joe Biden has never even considered being involved in a business with his family, nor in any overseas business whatsoever. Biden's campaign spokesman Andrew Bates said, quote, he has never held stock in any such business arrangements, nor has his family members or any other person ever held stock for him. The problem is Hunter's partner came out and totally retracted with Hunter's emails and with his ex-partner's testimony. Lies, lies, lies. And Psaki did the same thing on October 5th. Yeah, the White House press secretary in a press briefing on March 31st, 2022. So you can look those up, but they've been consistently trying to deny, even though Hunter's laptop and Hunter's former business partners are just, they've laid it out step by step, and Joe and his syndicate, his family, are simply compromised. I think with Ukraine, I think they're compromised with China, and possibly with Putin, which is why they don't care. They're just trying to get Joe through his 4 years, get him to sign all these executive orders, take the heat, and then he will just ride off into the sunset. And they're hoping mysteriously that the country is going to be happy with how things are heading. And they're not. Dr. Fauci walked back comments. Get to those in a second here on COVID, because remember, a couple of days ago he said the United States is no longer in the COVID-19 pandemic. The White House intervened. All of a sudden, he changed his tune. I need to ask you a question. If you could cut your cell phone bill in half without getting new phones, new phone numbers, without leaving your 5G network you're on, the towers you're on, with the coverage that you're receiving, if you could do all of that and cut your bill 50% without entering into a contract, would you? Of course you would. My wife and I did that about a year and a half ago. We left T-Mobile because we got tired of paying over data charges. Anytime we went over in our data, we got dinged, had all these fees, and I didn't save really any money compared to AT&T, which is the reason why I changed. Do what hundreds of thousands of people have done and continue to do by switching over to Pure Talk USA. CEO is a U.S. veteran. They're located in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Customer service is awesome. So it works this way. You go to getpuretalk.com, getpuretalk.com. You choose the packages that you're on right now, the plans. When you go to checkout, you put in my promo code of FLS for Liberty's sake, and you'll get 50% off your first month on a bill that's already going to be about 50% of what you've been paying. The reason why AT&T and T-Mobile and all of them charge so much is they have all those buildings, employees, and advertising. You don't have that with Pure Talk. You have the same service without all the overhead, with better customer service. They don't charge you when you go over on your data. And you get to save on average $800 a year or more per family. Do what I did and do what Hannity did and Clay and Buck and all kinds of conservatives. Head over to getpuretalk.com. Put the promo code FLS in. No contract, but you don't have to buy any new equipment. Everything stays the same. You just save money. And in these times, with inflation being double digits for the staples in life that we buy, no better time than to get off of the companies supporting causes you don't agree with and putting money in your pocket. Okay. Dr. Fauci, on Tuesday, he told PBS's Jody Woodruff that the U.S. is out of the pandemic phase of COVID. Quote, we are certainly right now in this country out of the pandemic phase, Fauci said, unquote. He continued, quote, namely, we don't have 900,000 new infections a day and tens and thousands of hospitalizations and thousands of deaths. We are at a low level right now. So if you're saying, are we out of the pandemic phase in this country? We are. What we hope to do, I don't believe, and I have spoken about widely, is we're not going to eradicate the virus, unquote, he said. But then he said again, more, quote, if we keep the level very low and intermittently vaccinate people, and I don't know how often that would be, unquote. So basically, we're no longer in COVID-19 in the pandemic, but, what we're not saying is that you should stop getting the vaccinations. So if we keep, people still keep getting the vaccinations, like annually or something, you didn't know how often, then everything would be fine now. We're moving on. But Psaki at the White House, when asked about it, what's your comment on Dr. Fauci saying that COVID is over? And here she is.
So there's no question that we're in a different moment in our fight against COVID. But we also know COVID isn't over and the pandemic isn't over.
Okay, well, oops, Fauci. I guess the White House press secretary knows better than you. Well, now Fauci's walked back his COVID comments after the White House set him straight. Late Wednesday, Fauci, quote, clarified, unquote, his COVID comments and said that the pandemic is not over. How do you do that? How can it be over and not over? I believe it's because either they were afraid of possibly getting sued by enforcing mandates on people when the head of the National Institutes of Health and his subgroups there said it's over. So here's what Fauci told NPR on Wednesday. I want to clarify one thing. I probably should have said the acute component of the pandemic phase. And I understand how that can lead to some misinterpretation. So look at Joe Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas, Dr. Fauci. 3 really old bureaucrats that lie, have brain freezes, forget, and are puppets of the establishment. And they're so afraid of losing power that they do whatever they're told. Why Fauci came out is beyond me, because he's supposed to be the authority. Well, if he's the authority, why is the White House and the press secretary able to get him to go out and correct himself? How embarrassing. Do you have trouble sleeping at night? Do you get like a cramped neck like I used to get? Or is your mattress getting old and starting to sink in? Are your towels looking like pretty old and they're not really drying anymore, falling apart? Or are your sheets just not soft? Then hey, I have great news for you. The workers, and the leader of MyPillow, Mike Lindell, have put together over 150 different items on their website, and a lot of them are on huge sales right now. So support Mike Lindell. MyPillow.com has 2,500 employees up there, and support my podcast here over at Finish the Race by going to MyPillow. And when you get there, you're going to use our promo code. It's 3 letters, FTR. So you go to MyPillow.com/FTR for Finish the Race, FTR. And you're going to see huge savings, 66%, 50%, 70%. But right now, they got the awesome pillows, which I sleep on every night, normally $69 for $19 for the regular one. The Giza sheets, very soft, very durable, breathable, cotton, awesome sheets. Not $150 or $200 like these stores, $39 on sale. So check out the Giza sheets. Get your pillow, get your towel sets, the mattress topper. You can roll it out over your mattress, makes your mattress feel brand new again for much, much less than what you would pay to get a new mattress. They got Bible pillows for the kids. So go to mypillow.com/FLS. I'm sorry, FTR. That's my other show. FTR for Finish the Race. Go to mypillow.com/FTR and get your savings. 60-day money-back guarantee. Get them to your house right away, and you will be very happy. You'll get your sleep back. You'll wake up rested, and you'll be able to conquer the day as we're fighting against the Marxism that's encroaching in our country. Again, mypillow.com/FTR. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to finish with this. It's interesting. The Democratic Party has normally planned on, when they're trying to figure out, okay, what do we need for vote counts to win? They normally plan on the black community to come in at over 90%. Even though they haven't done anything for the community. Over 90%. So, meet the press. went out into rural counties, and they're like, okay, well, let's go talk to people of color, especially the black community, especially this time. And we're going to, NBC sent out Antonia Hilton, to talk to others in a store in North Carolina about how they feel. How does it feel now that the Democrats are in the White House and the local governments? Do you feel like the Democratic Party is like left you behind, or how are you feeling? And here is some of their comments. And this is about as democratic, when you look at the demographics, when you're looking at the planning for the campaigns that you're going to get. And here we go.
We spent a day at a popular black-owned convenience shop in Morven, a town in Anson that is almost 100% black, hanging out with entrepreneurs, nurses, and veterans.
People out here don't believe in the government too much.
Do you feel like the Democratic Party has done much for black people in the last couple years?
Taking us down through there, that's about it. Taking all our shit. Like the rest of them, they ain't gonna do nothing for us.
All right. Well, you have it there.
There you go. What's up? How are you? Good.
What's made you feel like voting isn't worth it?
For you to sit there and you see your elders say something to the town hall or something like that, and nothing's being done about it, after a while it just becomes a non-factor in your life. You just feel like, I'm gonna just do what I gotta do, survive on a day-to-day, make a way for my family and everything like that. Politics don't really matter.
Has Biden and generally the Democratic Party, have they fulfilled promises that they've made over the last couple of years?
To me, in a small town like this, it really doesn't matter who you have in office. The effect that we experience is the same. It don't matter if it's Biden, it don't matter if it's Trump, it don't matter if it's Obama or Clinton or Bush. It really doesn't matter. What we feel down here is exactly the same. They can never even tell us who the president is, and we really still going to be exactly the same. You know what I mean?
Cynthia Wallace and Pastor Alvin Burney aren't going to wait for any national politicians to come to rural North Carolina. Whether on the pavement or at the pulpit, every weekend they'll listen.
Glad to see you.
Do people still believe things can change here?
I think they want to believe that. I think it's up to me. I think it's up to other advocates to inspire that change.
Inspire the change. Well, the problem is, like you heard in the actual people in the community, I mean, in their community, because the local public officials, just like in Baltimore and other black communities, haven't done anything for the communities, even though they get elected in and reelected over and over again. They don't feel like it matters. That's not the United States of America. When you don't have any, you can't dream because you have the government that is in the way, or it's so absent that you just like, well, I guess I just got to survive. So the government policies are creating a survival mentality in those areas, and then they get to a point where it doesn't matter anymore. So that then they get kind of in this bondage of almost like, well, I'm stuck. And then what happens when people have despair? They don't feel like there's any hope. The church has gone apostate. Then you have crime, prostitution, drugs, guns, violence, because there's no hope. Because the black community is waking up to this, CNN did a contrast between January of 21 and then September to March of 22. And guess what's happened to Biden with the black voters since the inauguration? Joe's down 20% in approval. The Democrats are hemorrhaging black votes. So Joe's approval as as of the inauguration, January 2021 through June, was 87% approval in the black community. See, that's below 90. Obama and everyone was in the 90s. But Joe's 87. But then when you look at September of 2021 to March of 2022, it's coming in at 67%. Because they know. They know that things are going south up in Capitol Hill. They know that all the promises that were made to them for a lot of the black voters that have been getting promised, just trust us. We don't come around and see you. We say that we're backing you, we're with you, but we don't come around. I think Biden was the last straw for a lot of them, because President Trump had picked up quite a bit more of the black vote than Republicans normally received, and now you have a guy coming in behind Trump. It's a total disaster, and I think they're like, wow, we got to do something different. There's no hope. It's actually looking like it's getting worse, and the Biden administration's flooding our cities with a massive number. Millions and millions and millions of foreign nationals are pouring in the country, and some of them are ending up in their urban areas, competing for the jobs, for driving up the rents and the cost of living, because they're getting the illegal aliens are getting so much aid and going to work that is putting pressure on everything. Keeps wages down and drives up prices on everything, because the demand goes up because there's a lot more people in the same area. So those are the main stories for today. The GDP's down. Joe had another brain freeze, couldn't say a word. Whoever set that up just shows you the disarray of the Biden administration. Look at the Breitbart article, 7 times that Joe deflected his involvement with the family business. And then you have the Democratic Party is losing a significant amount of the black vote, which if they continue to do that, if the numbers stay in the 60s, then the Democrats will get crushed in the elections. If they don't carry 90% plus, they will not be able to stay in office. So signs are looking good for conservatives and for the GOP. The question is going to be, will the GOP have the fortitude to reverse everything that Biden and the Homeland Security and Education's been doing? Will the GOP, if it's Trump with the Republican Congress, will they do what's necessary to fix the damage that the Biden administration's doing for the next 3 years? Even if the Republicans take back the Congress in November and get sworn in January, all they can do is create a lame duck, but the illegals are still going to be pouring across the border. So we will deal with that in 25. If you have a lot riding on your 401k or in IRAs, and you cannot afford to lose any of the money in those, then do what thousands of people are doing right now. And they're going and they're getting free information on, well, if the petrodollar goes away, where the world's not using the dollar for energy purchases, and if the Biden's his report comes back to Biden that they're going to try to go to a digital programmable currency, which would kill the dollar, then do this. Go to www.getgoldco.com. This is the same group that Sean Hannity is sharing on his program. He's vetted them. I vetted them. 5-star ratings with Google and every possible rating service. Goldco, huge company. And what they'll do is you can order your free 2022 Wealth Protection Kit. Free. No strings attached. No shipping costs. Nothing. It's what Americans are using to protect their retirement savings. And it's going to walk you through how you could transfer your pension, your TSP, retirement savings, through using an IRS loophole where you can shift the money into precious metals, which will be a hedge against inflation and will protect you from whatever could happen to the dollar. The way the things are heading, it's not looking good. Hannity says all the time, quote, protecting your retirement savings has never been more important, and getting up to $15,000 in free silver to do it. This is one of those opportunities you don't want to turn down, unquote. Go to getgoldco.com, get your free 2022 wealth protection kit. At least get educated. Don't just say, well, no, I don't think going into precious metals, gold or silver or the other metals is good. Get the information, see if it makes sense, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them for you, and you've got the best company in the industry to do that. Again, getgoldco.com. My other sponsors, getpuretalk.com. If you want to save about $800 a year on your cell phone service, promo code FLS, and mypillow.com/FTR to get your pillow, mattress topper, sheets, and everything else. So thank you so much for listening. Again, the website is finishtherace.com, and I will talk to you guys later.
Thank you for listening to Finish the Race. We hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
My friends and I love it.
It's drastically changed my life.
For more information and updates, please visit finishtherace.com. To get in touch with others in our community, please visit magabook.com. We thank you once again for tuning in. Have a blessed day.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep.
Get the best deals possible. Head over to mypillow.com/FTR. mypillow.com/FTR.
We all have smartphones. Isn't it time for a smart plan? Pure Talk USA offers Simply Smarter wireless that covers 99% of Americans. Stop overpaying for wireless. Unlimited plans start as low as $20 per month and include the same great coverage. You never pay for any data overage fees, and Pure Talk USA never turns off your data. No contracts, no hidden fees, no surprises. If you're thinking our absurdly low cost means less coverage, think again. Pure Talk USA operates on the largest GSM network in the U.S. to ensure you're connected virtually anytime, anywhere. And our 4G LTE network provides the fastest internet speeds like more expensive carriers. You can keep your same phone and your same phone number. Add multiple lines to save 20% off your total bill. Go to puretalkusa.com and do something smart today. Unlimited talk and text plans start at $20 per month. No contracts, no activation fees, no reasons not to try. Come to puretalkusa.com and see how much you can save. Enter this promo code to receive 50% off your first month.
So get the best deal possible. Go to getpuretalk.com, getpuretalk.com, promo code FLS.